My name's Macleod. I'm a professor of neurology at the University of Edinburgh, and I'm interested in the way that we can try and capture and analyse and synthesise information from laboratory studies and laboratory studies using animals and exploit those findings as we try and develop treatments for human diseases, in this case for human mental health disorders. Well, I've been a clinical trialist in neurology for many years, and when we're designing clinical trials and trying to select what the best drug is to choose, usually we've got a whole lot of experts sitting around the room who know their literatures, who know their stuff, who come to an agreement about what they think is the most promising compound. Now, we know from all parts of research, really, but particularly from human clinical research, that when we try and summarise research systematically, using a predefined plan for what we're going to look for and how we're going to analyse it, we get better, truer representations of what that literature says. So the idea here is that formative animal, formative preclinical laboratory data that we're feeding into the reviews, we've collected in that same systematic way. So we're not replacing the expert opinion, but we're making sure that our experts, when they're making decisions, are informed by the best available summaries of the best available evidence. There's this approach called literature-based discovery, completely separate from what GALENOS do, where people try and look across the entire literature and say, well, is there a bit of information here that I can put together with a bit of information from and come to a new view, a new vision of how the world might work. But of course that historically, conventionally, has been done on the basis of a bit of information. And often it was, this word appears within 20 words of this word in the abstract of a scientific paper. Now imagine that you could make that process much more rigorous and robust, that information that went into the literature-based discovery had been collected and curated in a systematic way rather than just what I could lay my hands on. How much better literature-based discovery might be? Well, we don't know, but GALENOS provides an opportunity where we can start to work towards that kind of system. I can't predict whether the bit of information, the bit of data, the insight that will unlock the treatment, for instance, of schizophrenia, will come from someone sitting in an ivory tower in Oxford or Cambridge or Edinburgh, or will come from someone on the bus on their way to work in Pretoria or in Thailand. And I can't tell whether that really difficult question that someone asks in a meeting that everyone thinks is a stupid question until they think about it and realise that the question contains the insights that would lead to a new understanding. I don't know who's going to come out with that. And the more different types of people you have in the room, the more different expertise you have in the room, the more different traditions of medicine and how it's practiced you have in the room, the more likely you are that your room is where those insights happen. So I think it's really fundamentally important. Now, of course, anyone who's tried to bring together different teams, different tribes, different communities, anyone who's got married or a partner and has to meet their in-laws knows that sometimes when you meet people for the first time, you don't have a shared understanding and you don't have a shared understanding of what people mean, and it's difficult to trust people you've just met. But over time, that trust builds, and the more the trust builds and the more the understanding builds, the richer the collaboration becomes. And I've been working in research for 30, 40 odd years now, and I can tell you that the best research comes from those collaborative groups which at their beginning were perhaps a bit sticky, where you had to work hard to make the collaboration work, but it's so worth the investment, hugely worth the investment.